self-discussion. The very first book of many. Ladies and gentlemen, my brethren, Jeffrey Azan.
Thank you.
Go, Jeff!
Wow. I definitely going to have to ask you to bear with me tonight. It started already. This is a huge moment for me. From the first day that I shared the image of the book with Conrad was the first person to see the full design of the book and the concept of it. And, I kind of I wanted his blessing. And when I got his blessing for the book, I said, okay, first critic passed. And then it happened again to me just this week when we printed this foam cutout and hot off the press sneaked me around the back to go into the cutting area to actually look at it. And I stood in hot off the press and I genuinely couldn't believe where I was. Big up yourself, Dre. Appreciate it. But I wanted, and for those of you standing, just bear with me. I am long-winded and I do have a lot to say and I have a lot of people to thank. This book launch, when it was first conceptualized, I was like, okay, I've done this book, I need to do the launch, I need to sell copies. And I was sitting at the Pegasus and I was like, okay, I'm going to sell copies. Who are the influential people that I can invite that they will post this, and when they post this, it will sell copies? And I said, but that's not what you're about. You've never been about that. I've never been like, I have to have this celebrity because if I have this celebrity, it will fill a room. Chemo is here. Someone push him forward for me. Do. Chemo. And I just use Chemo as an example to what I believe. Chemo reached out to me on social media and said, you don't know me, but you inspire me. Can I have a meeting with you? And we met, and Chemo, I can't make him tell his story because I'm going to send us off on a whole nother tangent. But Chemo shared his story with me that night, and the whole point that Chemo shared his story with me was he said, Uncle, I don't know my purpose. And we spoke for maybe 2 hours that first time, and I said, Chemo, your purpose is to smile. And I've now gone on to watch Chemo give presentations all across Jamaica, telling people to smile. Powerful guy. And I use Chemo as an example because I think Chemo is one of the truest testaments to what I do. So thank you very much, Chemo. Thank you. And that's really what I wanted this to be, was a moment of thanks. When I was sitting in Pegasus and writing that guest list, I started writing on all the people who have contributed to this journey. And when I thought I was going to have a small gathering of 50 people, there's definitely more than 50 here. We ended up with a list of about 250 people, because when you work on something for 7 years, a lot of people help you along the way. And I just want to take this time now and just thank some critical people. Actually, underneath there is a bag. Can you pass the bag underneath? Or yeah, if you have those ones. All right. So there's some people, not everybody is here. First and foremost, this event wouldn't be possible without our sponsor. So, David, please come forward, sir. Now, as David comes, this whole concept, we're sitting and we're talking about like what represents the next level, really and truly, and what you're about, Jeffrey. And my good friend Yuan, who has been with me on many ventures, Yuan already got his book, so I'm not getting none tonight. He said, Jeff, the next level right now in Jamaica is Porsche. So if you're going to do a book about what you're about, have to be at Porsche. And I was like, dog, portion not take away. Like I was like, no, let's just try. And I messaged David the night, and in no time, David was like, when? We're ready, let's go. So David, I want to tell you a big thank you. I really appreciate it. Thank you very much. The next person, and I wanted to catch her while she was speaking, is Miss Shanique. I have no grammatical sense. If you've ever received a text message from me, it's missing commas, full stops, exclamation, it's just no punctuation at all, really. And if it wasn't for Shanique, this wouldn't be of any caliber or quality to be shared with the public. So Madam Shanique, thank you very much, my dear. Vincent is okay, right? I can't this person isn't here. And we're going to save this one for last. Okay. Formalities out of the way. I want to take a moment and just thank some really key people. So the first person I really want to thank is my grandfather. Bravery and confidence and all that was there came after a conversation with Grandpa. I was finishing up my last year of school and I came back to Jamaica on a holiday, and he called me and he said, we need to have a meeting. Now, when Danvers William called you and said we need to have a meeting, you get a little nervous. You're about to get disciplined. And he said, what are you doing with your life? To which I obviously had no answer. And he said, Jeffrey, this cannot continue, you know. You need to pick something and you need to stick with it and you need some direction. I said, Grandpa, there's just so much and I'm not sure and I don't connect to anything. And he started me on my journey with a book that I recommend to everybody all the time, and that is Who Moved My Cheese? And to him that might have been a very inconsequential conversation. To him that might have been like, here's some advice, go do something. But giving me that book and the books that followed and the conversations that followed after have been major channels of steering me on my journey. And I would not have even started living had it not been for that conversation. So it's going to be a lot of that. In this journey of becoming a personal development coach, I've had to deal with my own issues, and that has made me a very emotional person. So I apologize. Oh, thank you very much. Oh, good mentee. Only you should get a mentee like this. So the next folks, I didn't see them coming. I'm not sure if they're here. If you are here, raise your hand. Wayne, is Wayne here? No, Wayne never come. But if anybody has ever heard my speech, Wayne would be the next person in line, because Wayne asked me the next question that really changed my life. So Grandpa got my thinking to start in the right direction, but I still hadn't made a move yet. I hadn't made a decision about my life yet. And I was at Azan's, and the infamous Organogold salespeople were there. Wayne was one of them. Wayne's still a great guy. I'm not going to take that away from him just because he sells Organogold. But Wayne said something that then became a spark. Wayne said to me, Jeffrey, I understand everything that you're saying, all the challenges that you may have, but do you want the life you've been given, or do you want the life that you choose? And that really threw me for six, because I realized a lot of the time we're programmed into a certain systematic way to live. And I had been going through that program for so long that he really asked me for the first time to stop and to make a choice. What did you want out of life? And that led to other conversations, which led to other conversations, which led to me being here. In terms of groupings, I want to give a big shout out to, I can't even call everybody because it's so much, but I want to give a shout out to just my group of friends. You know who you are, the people who I reach out to, the people I talk to, the people that force me to be social. You know, and you know yourselves, but I have some friends that if it wasn't for them, I'd just be in the cocoon, just kind of staying there and working, hoping to achieve something. But they remind me that it's not just about working for a life, but it's living while having a life. So a big thank you to my friends for that. About 2013, this whole journey started. But there are two families that adopted me at that time. One was my karate family and one was Toastmasters. Now there's one representative from the karate family here. I don't know if he's still here. Andre, are you still here? Oh, I see your hand waving. So Andre was one of those crazy people that trained with us in the ridiculous hours of the morning. And I actually wanted to speak to Andre directly in terms of Andre was that person who he was well aware of his physical limitations in terms of training, but Andre, bad knee, late night, early morning, work to go, Andre showed up every single morning. And Andre said, boy, I'm not a young guy anymore, and I don't feel fit, and I'm not about this life, and Lord, it's too cold to get out of bed in the morning, but I'm here. And unconsciously, Andre taught me that just keep doing it, and it will eventually work out. Another person from the karate family who I want to put this on record. Is my direct instructor, Gilbert Bellamy. I sense a Bellamy to me. He treated me as a student at first, but very quickly adopted me as a son. And he adopted me at a time when I needed it, where life was going everywhere. I wasn't really sure, but there was this one person who just made that decision that I'm going to guide you, I'm going to work with you, I'm going to follow up with you. I mean, this is a guy who would be like, I'm on the highway and I have nothing else to do till I get to work. So I'm just going to talk to you the entire way. And he would just drill into my life and into my life and into my life. And I was like, we are well outside of the realm of karate at this point. But he made a conscious effort to invest in my life. And for that, I will forever be grateful. I mean, up to this morning, he was training and kicking me around the place. But the adoption, the genuine care that I got, I wouldn't be where I am without that. And the other family that adopted me, pace setters and Toastmasters in general. Now, Toastmasters, I have a lot of my speech technicians here today, people who have heard me present and tweaked it right here in the front row. We have Virus, and we have Shirley right here in the front, and there are many more that aren't here right now, but I have plenty of speech technicians that have constantly pushed me. Jeffrey, that was okay, it can be better. What do you mean it was great? No, it can be better. Let's go again. Jeffrey, you turn your head too fast that way, you distracted me. Jeffrey, you're using too many arms and ers and stuttering in your speech. And I said, Jesus Christ, these people can never be pleased. But because of them, my speaking grew and it grew and it grew and it grew to a level now where I am a professional speaker because of them. My pace setters, listen, them will fight and kill for me. Them is a set of sickhead people. And you think is that we just get together and just chat and speak and go through it, but they have become so fiercely loyal that somebody came into the club and kind of stepped on a toe and you thought it was about to be a gang fight. But having that sort of community that it's more than speaking, it's about being genuinely vulnerable, it's about genuinely opening up, and then having a community of people who have chosen to support you regardless of what you open up about. And not only support you, but help you be better after opening up. Is a set of people that I wouldn't trade for anybody. Whether I remain in Toastmasters for the rest of my life or whatever the case may be, I will never not be a pace setter. Because that's what happened in that family, that's what happened in that group. So that's a big thank you. I know he spoke already, but I would not be here without Conrad. Yeah. I totally like, I cannot express how many times this guy has saved me from some depths. I mean, to the point where Conrad called a meeting to see my financials. And in the meeting, he says, you will keep speaking. But while you speak, you're going to work during the days for me so that I know you have money at the end of the month. There are not a lot of people who would put their head on the chopping block like that for you. No. And I'd speak of Conrad, but I look around the room and there are just so many people who I know who do that for me. So many people who have gone way, way, way out of their way for me. I mean, even just bringing it back to that, even the IPP team on a whole, they're almost here in their entirety. I see some around the back, we have some here in the front. But they have gone out of their way. They cuss me. Jeffrey, you're doing an event and you're not recording foolishness. Your website needs to be up and it needs to be running. No, come on, let's get it done. Jeffrey, where are the pictures? Where are the photos? No, you don't post that. That's not in line with your brand. Take it down. But it's not out. As much as I take care of other clients, I know they take care of me more. And that's just the truth. They take care of me more. So I want to tell a big thank you to Canada and a big thank you to the IPP family for the support I've gotten, for the love I've received, for the attention that I get, because they're not small. Listen, them have TVJ, them have Grace, them have Champs and World Cup, and then them have work on self-discussions. So self-discussion is just as big. That's what I'm trying to say. In case you didn't miss it. Right? Okay. We're not small. Right? No, there are a lot more people I could thank. There are a lot more people I could give recognition to. Mikhail Jackson, he's here. Mikhail bought the first physical copy of the book. Mikhail, he was like, oh, it published? Boom, bought. So, for those who know my story, and we're not going to go into all of that right now, one of the major points of contention in my story is that I was home and I was living with my mother, and me and my mother don't get along because we're the same person. We're both very stubborn, we're both very loud, and when things get critical, we're both right. We have very different views on the world, and we take very different approaches, and because of that we buck heads a lot. And so much so to a point that I thought something was wrong. I thought something was wrong with me, why I couldn't fit the mold. When things were falling apart, I was off on my own in school, and my brother and my sister and my mother were together. And the reality is adversity builds bonds. And I used to look on those bonds and be like, I'll never have that. And I don't get along. So it's just a matter of time before I get the call for just move out. And then I decided I'm going to not take a traditional job, and I'm going to speak for a living. After having failed maybe 6 or 7 times in other ventures. And I remember her being like, that's not a career. And me got conversations on a regular. So when's the deadline for testing this? When are you going to get the job? Are you looking? What are your projections like? When are you going to actually make money? And it was very practical, it was very real, and at the time I thought it was harsh. But fortunately, I've grown through the process of these books and talks and lessons, and I've realized that they all came out of a place of love. They came out of a place of wanting to protect me from me. But, you know, after the rain must come the rainbow, and eventually the sunshine. And to a lot of people, this may seem very inconsequential, but it really stood out to me. So, if you know anything about me, I'll give you some more of my dark secrets. I don't buy my own clothes. I don't. I hate clothes shopping. I hate it with a passion. If you leave it to me, I wear the same thing for years. In fact, there's one summer that if you look at the pictures from the summer, you'll think I was just at one long party because all the parties I was wearing the same set of shirts. And so every now and again, when my family travels and they sale rack, they come across a sale rack in my size, I get a shirt or a pants. But they buy very basic, jeans, short sleeve, that's what Jeffrey wear. And I remember my mom coming back from a trip and she had a black suit pants and a tan pants. And she was like, I think you need to look a little better when you're on stage. And I sat and I was really confused what just took place. Because this couldn't be the same woman that told me, go get the job. This couldn't be the same woman asking me for the deadline. This couldn't be the same. Let me tell you something, all right? I don't know if they remember it, but them say the offended never forgets and the offender never remembers. Deborah asked me, Deborah came with an idea of a conference and I was to be one of the young speakers. And in front of me, my mother said, to Deborah, him not ready. And I was looking for the bus. I was like, well, you want me to do the MC? You want me to open? You want me to take people number? I wasn't ready. And tonight, everything you see was set up by her. She's a prickly woman. She's a prickly woman. She's tough on the outside. But the inside soft. You ever get like something like bake and it don't fully bake and you cut it and the inside still wet? Soft. So they say too many people wait till you're dead to tell you that thank you and to tell you that they love you. So, mommy, I know you said you don't need a book right now. I know you said sell them, do the smart business thing. But tonight couldn't happen without you getting your book. So. I don't know if she'll read it, but you know, all these things. Her friends will pressure her to read it. So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for being a part of this occasion. Thank you for your support over the years up to this point, and I know I'll have a lot of your support going forward. To those I've met through Select and Start, thank you for the opportunities. Without you taking a chance on me, this wouldn't have become what it became. You know yourselves, you took the chance. I really, really appreciate it, whether it was a coaching session, inviting me to speak at your conference, inviting me to speak at your company. I really, really appreciate it. Too many names to name. And I just want to close off on this fact, and I guess a word of inspiration to all of you. When I started, with a dream back in June of 2013. I started where I was with what I had, and we started with a series called Morning Talks back at Azan's, and it was a 9 a.m. talk on a Wednesday morning, and the first one I had, nobody showed up. Nobody. I think the security guard on the plaza stopped and reasoned with me, and that was about it. But we kept it going every Wednesday, 9 o'clock on, you remember? And towards the end of that year, staff that couldn't make it for a 10 o'clock shift were showing up for 9 o'clock reasoning on a Wednesday morning. And from that year, I'm a very meticulous, I like to keep my numbers. That year we spoke to a total, well, between that and you and I know I never really want to big you up, but you gave me my first professional engagement ever. You was working at Scotia and him said, Jeffrey, we need a speaker, and who them recommending is foolishness. Come talk. So thank you very much. And between that talk and Azan's back in 2013, my total audience for the year was 60 people. 7 years later, Olivia, we just did our numbers, and in 7 years we went from 60 people the first year to over the 7 years speaking to over 12,000 people. I say this to say, no matter how small your dream is, no matter how small your beginnings are, start where you are with what you have in any way you can and hold on to it. Because if you hold on long enough, you never know when it's going to start pouring, raining, and flooding in your life. Mr. MC.